Good morning, church. Hope you're well. Happy Christmas. It's Christmas Eve today. Just want to share a few thoughts from the Christmas story. But firstly, a verse that Nigel shared earlier in the week from Galatians 4, verse 4. It says, "But when the fullness of the time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who are under the law, that we might receive the adoption as sons." Nigel spoke about that verse and how it really does point to God's perfect timing and plan in all things, and how God sent his Son at the perfect time. And God's always working to a perfect clock and knows what's going on. And then yesterday, listening to Keith's devotion was really wonderful, and Keith's got a real way of storytelling, which is such a powerful tool in communicating, especially communicating God's truth. And it took us through the Christmas story in a really great way. I'd encourage you to go and listen to it today if you get a chance. One of the things that stuck out to me as Keith was sharing the story was the character of Joseph. And Joseph is probably an unassuming character in the whole nativity story. The shepherds, the kings, Mary, baby Jesus often get the limelight, and probably rightly so. But Joseph was a guy who, as I've thought about the kind of moments in the story that he appears in, is a guy who's characterized by obedience. It was must have been such a rough ride for him. First of all, he's planning his life, and then he finds out that the woman he's engaged to is pregnant, not to him. That in itself must have been just earth-shaking for him and his life and his plans for his life. But he's told in a dream, isn't he, that the baby in Mary's womb is God, in Matthew chapter 1, and it kind of carries on and sticks with Mary. But then, as Mary's pregnant, is about to give birth, is given the next kind of earth-shattering news that he needs to uproot and move. Imagine going through a relocation during such a time, and they have to go to Bethlehem and walk to Bethlehem, and then they get to Bethlehem and there's nowhere for them to stay, and there's this young man with his new wife, and there's nowhere to stay, and she's about to give birth. And it seems like news after news, it just doesn't seem to be going his way, plans changing time and time again. And then Jesus is born, and then not long after that, after a visit of some wise men, as Jesus, a young child, is told again, you need to get out of here because King Herod wants to kill your son. And they have to flee again to Egypt, to a completely different country, a completely different culture. And Joseph goes again. And then not long after that, he's told you can go back to Israel, but he don't want to go to Judea, so he goes back to Galilee, to Nazareth. And this man's early years of marriage and parenthood are characterized by change and a change of plans, and not the way that Joseph would do it. I'm sure that Joseph had a plan for his life of settling down with Mary in his hometown and running a business and raising his child, but those plans were thrown out of the window. But as that verse said, God had all this in hand. God's timing was perfect, his plan was perfect, and all these things were ordained. And the thing that I just think sticks out from Joseph is his obedience. Each time he's told to do something, he does it. When he's told to arise and take the young child and flee to Egypt, he arose and took the young child and fled to Egypt. When he's told to go back, he goes back. He arose and took the young child and his mother and came back to the land of Israel. The thing that sticks out to me about Joseph is that when he was told something, he did it. He was obedient. I'm sure there were questions and doubts, but he did it. He acted on it. And he's a guy who's maybe not, as I said, set front and centre in the nativity story, but he's a man that was crucial to it, and crucial to the early life of Jesus. And I was thinking, as Jesus grew up and saw this man obeying God, what an impact that would have had on Jesus' life, in Jesus' formation as a man. and seeing a father who obeyed God and was willing to go with the flow, and whatever would be thrown at him and his young family, that he would listen and obey. That's kind of my thoughts for this morning, looking at the Christmas story. I hope you have a blessed Christmas. Tomorrow, maybe you'll be at church, some of you. If not, have a lovely time at home with family. God bless you.